Hey guys, Emily Waiwoot here. Happy New Year from everyone at Ghost Island Media. Today's episode is a bit more personal. Up to now, our focus has been on policy, but today we talk with the former Minister of National Defense of Taiwan, Kent Feng. He was a Top Gun pilot, a 3-star general. It's a rare chance to hear his life story in English. Today's episode is supported by the Institute for National Defense and Security Research in Taiwan, a think tank dedicated to fueling knowledge-based policy analyses and strategic assessments on Taiwan's security.
Welcome to the Christmas special. Today, Life and Times of Kent Feng. Top Gun, twice appointed cabinet minister, chairman of Taiwan's first national-level international defense and security think tank, temple master, husband, father, and grandfather. He has gone toe-to-toe, or in this case, wing-to-wing, in the sky against the PLA Air Force, that is the People's Liberation Army. He has met Bedouins in Saudi Arabia. He has offered salutes to a few of Central America's generals. Today, we are really honored to have a conversation with Kent Feng Shikwan about his life and his times, and he may even have a holiday wish to share with his 5 beautiful grandchildren. This is the Taiwan Take, and I'm your host, J.R. Wu. Minister Feng, this is a special Christmas recording, so if you don't mind, let's keep it casual for the holidays. Welcome to the show, Kent.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's great to have you back at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research, where we are recording. Now, to give our listeners an idea of who you are, let's start from the beginning. You are the youngest of 4 siblings. You were born in 1945. Actually, your mother was 48 years old when she gave birth to you in China's Jiangsu province. In 1950, your family fled to Taiwan, as did hundreds and thousands, following the defeat of the Nationalists, or Kuomintang, in the Chinese Civil War against the Chinese Communists. Your parents, despite coming here with Chiang Kai-shek, they weren't in the military. What do you remember about this time as a 5-year-old? Did you have a sense of the major change that was going on for your family?
First, I would like to tell you I was born in 1945. 5 years old, one day I found out a soldier was living in my big house. The house is Siheyuan, bigger than any house I have seen in Taiwan. I can remember it has a big tree. I sometimes climb on it. One day I found out some soldiers was living in my house. And I found some astronauts is on the balcony.
On the balcony?
On the balcony.
My goodness.
Yeah, and the soldier says, hey, that's dangerous, put it down. I said, what is this? He says, it will be boom, and will let you die or something like that. The next day they are dismissed. They are moving to some other places so peacefully, never let us feel bothered. They call they are the Balujun. The communists wasn't a PLA yet. Then my mother bring me as a refugee I remember from Nanjing, Shanghai, and then to the Shenzhen. All on the way, I have seen so many beggars, died people. I don't know why. I just can't understand what happened. And my mama has a small feet.
She had bound feet.
Yeah, bound feet, very small. So she brought me to some car or take by train or even by the small boat. I don't know where we will come from and where we will be. But with mama until to Shenzhen. And then that night, have machine guns swept on the ground. they want to stop the refugees from mainland rushing to the Shenzhen or Hong Kong. But I saw my mother give gold ring to the...
to a pawnbroker?
Yeah, and then they bring us to a very narrow places to climbing from mainland to the Shenzhen. And I asked my mother, says, what about some other kids? My mother says, this time you take care of yourself. It's not time to take care of some others.
And this is when you were like only 5 years old, around 1950.
Yeah. So this is in my heart, is still ache. I was, so hungry when I was a refugee. We have no food. I don't remember I have any bowl of rice. This is infected to my whole life. Till now, I've never complained about the dishes is no good. The rice is not good enough. I still remember we waiting for the boat, a big ship. Many people are carried a big suitcase. And I saw a gentleman. They threw his big suitcase into the sea. He was crying about that. I found out one of them inside, a lot of money inside. Because it's too heavy, and it was thrown into the sea.
Because at this time, you guys were all escaping mainland China, and you were never going to go back, although at the time, nobody knew that.
No, we will not be able to return to mainland. I can see that time, tragedy is nothing. The living life is everything. So we are all carry very simple, suitcase to climbing on a big ship. It took about a week from Hong Kong to Keelung.
To Keelung in northern Taiwan?
In northern Taiwan.
Kent, tell us a little bit about your life in Taiwan, those very early years as a child.
Well, I was living in a farmer, with a farmer. They treated me so well. I have 3 meals a day in their home. Then to Taipei, I registered in Dongyuan Guoxiao Primary School with so many Taiwanese kids. I can be a good friend with them. I have never fight with them says, oh, you are Taiwanese, you are from mainland, because I can speak Taiwanese. And one day I saw the jet fly in the sky. I was so admired the aircraft. I say, someday I would like to be a pilot. And then parachute people coming from the aircraft.
So you saw them jump from the airplane into the air onto the ground.
Right. I said, whoa, someday I would like to be a parachute man. And fortunately, I easily to Qiangshu Zhongxue.
This is junior high.
Junior high. Looks like it's prepared for the students from mainland China. I can easily register because I tell them, says I'm from Jiangsu province. I have 3 happy years in the high school. English is easy, in the Chinese easy for me, and I have so many friends with me, even the girls.
So you were popular, you were smart, and you were street smart.
I would say I'm very easygoing. Yeah.
So what was life like at that point in your life?
Well, I have a love story about myself. It was 1963 and 64. I was in the Air Force Academy. I represent the Air Force Academy to join the exercise competition in Taichung. I met so many young people, several girls, very friendly to me. One is called Jin, Jin. He was working in the post office. I write a postcard to my parents that says I am in Taichung, something like that. She is very pretty, tall and beautiful. I didn't concentrate on to have a girlfriend because, I'm a good exerciser. I will do my best. But I don't know why. Next day I come to the post office again. The lady Jinjin give me a candy. Says, this is to you. I said, you prepare to me? She says, yes. Then it's the beginning. She went to the Air Force Academy to her classmate's house, waiting for me on the Sunday to see each other. It's almost 3 years. After I got my win in Jiayi Air Force Base, she come to have our
graduation party.
I tell her, says, Jinjin, I don't want to keep going.
You were breaking up with her.
She says, why? You know the reason? I went to her home as a military compound. Her grandmother is a widow. Her mother is a widow. Think about when we were young, just got my win. I have no confidence to myself. We're not graduated. My classmates have accident 2 times. So I feel anxious. My life, yes. If I had accident, her home have 3 widows. This is in our Chinese philosophy is, what happened on this family? This family ancestors doing some bad things and give this bad result to the descendants. So I tell her, says, I will not be married with any girl.
So this was like when you were in your 20-somethings.
Yeah,
you were already thinking about things like this.
Let me think about this. Is 1969. Just after that, we are going to have combat training. We get on the car. We all wear the uniform of flying suit. A little girl, white dressing. I was say 6 or 7 years old. Happily writing for us. Oh, you are the pilots. Well, like my daddy will be dead one day.
She said that to you guys?
To all of us. You were like my daddy, have accident someday. 你们全会死光的. I decided I will not marry. Yeah. So
that is a love story, Kent.
I say that to my wife. You say you are the winner.
What does Rosa say?
I said you are the winner.
Kent, share with us a little bit about your flying and your love of flying. I mean, in your later years, you had a very long and illustrious career in the Air Force for the Republic of China, as well as being Air Combat Commander among some of your very distinguished roles.
So I went to Air Force Preparatory School as a cadet in 3 years in Donggang. Very interesting. It's close to the sea. Sometimes we are swimming in the closest because they have a airport called water airport. Yeah, it's for the special flying rescue aircraft, So we can swim in that close sea, very close to the compound, school campus. We had a lot of fun. Inside have a lot of crabs, the seafood. We enjoy to have it.
So I have to ask, Kent, what was your first jet? Tell us about what it was like to fly for the first time.
Well, that day I feel so glad that the instructor says, you are allowed to solo. I was so excited. I forgot before the flying check, put my flap down. I just put my throttle on and go into the runway, want to take off. And the speed is up. How come the aircraft will not be able to rotate? I check it again. Oh my God, the flap is still at the up position. I put it down, and the aircraft like a horse jumping off. Suddenly it was maybe 10 feet high in the air.
My goodness, yeehaw.
Yeah. Then I found out they say takeoff is very dangerous. So after that, no matter is after landing or before takeoff, my safety check is all the way.
Those are very good lessons to have.
After graduated, I assigned to Taiwan Air Force Base That base is flying very old F-86F fighter. That aircraft is not very high speed. Performance is good. We can do a lot of combat training. All my tactical was trained at that time. After that, we transferred to F5 A and B model. I would say, oh my God, the F-86 fly in the night training, because it's so old. The light in the instrument are different color because it's out of sourcing. You have red color and brown color or something like that, yellow color. Not like the F5. F5, just like you certainly driving a Benz, The cockpit is a light blue color. It's so fancy, and the aircraft looks different. I was enjoying, to have a new aircraft. I was almost taxiing out of the taxiway.
Because you were just admiring your plane.
I ignored to make it straight ahead. That time I say, oh my God, I got a good aircraft to fly. And yes, we do a lot of combat air patrol. That time, no Center 9, no Davis 9. We always fly as close as we could to the mainland. Myself, sometimes as a 4 ships leader, I flew it very low to the offshore island, passing through of it, make the engine sound that soldiers coming out to see, oh, what happened? And I would do it again. They will see, this is from, they have 国徽 on it. Everybody I can see they're
clapping. You sound like a flying maverick.
It's, how to say that? That's 违规的.
It was outside of regulations.
Yeah, outside of regulation. I do that many times because I want our soldiers in offshore island have a high spirit. And listen to the song that says they are coming to support us.
Ken, I do want to get back to some of this color, but while we're here, I want to grasp the opportunity. Now that we're on the air, I want to ask you about being on the front line. For most military forces in the world, the front lines is the terrain. For North and South Korea, there's the DMZ. For Russia and Ukraine, there's this 250-mile range in eastern Ukraine and so on. Between China and Taiwan, the most urgent front line actually is in the sky. It takes just 7 minutes for a fighter to fly between China and Taiwan. Did I get that right? I mean, what does that feel like? Did you eyeball a PLA fighter up there?
Well, our pilots can see they will have a 临界尾 behind their aircraft.
A
Looks
white
like
plume,
smoke.
yes.
Yeah, plume. That we can see, they are at maybe 11 o'clock or maybe, 10 o'clock. Finally, communists understand that will be dangerous because it can be discovered by us. So we are flying, most of them, same altitude, maybe 28,000, 25,000. Well, situation between two sides is very curious to some foreigners because we use the Taiwan Strait as a center line called the Davis Line. Our radar station, control station, they can keep the Davis Line in their scope and tell you are closer or you should not be through the Davis Line. So we always keep at our side the Davis Line. But in case, if they're out of the regulation, we probably will be over the center line to say, we'll not scare you.
How about your own experience up there?
My own experience is, I don't follow the regulation. I always as close as to the mainlander side.
Oh, shh, don't tell anybody, Kent.
Fortunately, that period of time, we are stronger than them. Yeah. Now, I would say we better to keep the regulation.
You got your wings. You flew all sorts of jets, all sorts of mission. Now, I want you to tell us a little bit about the time when you were Adversary Squadron Commander. That's 假想敌总队长, because this was important. This part of your life helped you later on when you actually flew more international missions, shall we say, even as an attaché when you were in Saudi Arabia, Washington, D.C., Luke Air Force Base, Nicaragua, Guatemala. I'd love to hear it.
Advanced Squadron, the other name is Top Gun. Top Gun ROC, Top Gun, Republic of China Air Force. From the name, you can see we say it's copy everything from the enemy to find the tactical against our enemy. It was combined with teacher or instructor trained in the United States, Top Gun Squadron. And I was the first squadron before it was just a training center. Air Force is want to organize as a normal squadron. I was assigned as the first adversary squadron commander. I'm interested to research the weapon system. I would like to have a new idea about tacticals, and I always bring the young pilots or young instructors in the air to practice the new tactical means attack. We call it ACM, air combat maneuver, how to make it controlled by our side.
And around what year is this now we're in?
It's 1981, 82. We flew a lot. We are always nose up because we are the number one pilot in the Air Force. As a squadron, it's a head of the S pilot. We understand the missile attack, their limitation, and their effective.
Because you had to develop really sharp skills as if you were the adversary, because you train like that.
Train like very hard. And I encourage the young instructors to do it, try it.
Now, I love all these stories, but I'm going to ground you now, Kent. So then, you were military attaché to Saudi Arabia, as well as to Washington, D.C. What's your most memorable time from when you had these overseas postings? You weren't flying, but you were representing what you do.
You've been listening to The Life and Times of Ken Feng. When we come back, Ken talks about a top secret mission in North Yemen, his time as a temple master before becoming our Minister of National Defense, and what he's doing now for our veterans. Do you have tips for us? For news tips, tweet at us at Ghost Island Me. To give us dollar tips, head on over to patreon.com. That's Patreon. Patreon.com/Taiwan. Now back to our interview with Minister Feng.
You were military attaché to Saudi Arabia, as well as to Washington, D.C. What's your most memorable time from when you had these overseas postings? You weren't flying, but you were representing what you do.
Yeah, I have almost 4 years in Saudi Arabia. My tenure finished as a adversary squadron commander. Air Force gave me this opportunity to the Saudi Arabia as a...
Do you speak Arabic?
No, the deputy air attaché. Actually, yes, we have a very, very top secret mission. We have a contingent in North Yemen.
Now, are you sure you should be saying this on the air, Kent?
Well, it was 40 years ago. So it's this...
Declassified?
Yeah, declassified. So I will be free to talking about that. In the Saudi Arabia, I found out that it's really a rich country. Really a kingdom. When the prince or princess go out to have fun or travel, they book the hotel, but the whole hotel was clean and empty for them only. In there, you have to show your capability. Like we have a contingent in North Yemen was supported by them. So they treated us very good. Our ambassador want to see their princess, want to see the minister, or even the King Fahd. It's easier than some other country. And also have experiences is they built up the Jeddah International Airport. It was in the desert. That time it's the biggest airport in the world. Also, they built up a diplomatic compound. They order every embassy should be, moving in that compound. I asked one Saudi Arabia, says, why? They say, put bad people all get together because we are drinking, we are not, pray 5 times a day, something like that.
Now, Ken, didn't you get lost in the desert once?
Well, I enjoy it because the people, like Bedouin people, whenever you saw them, you come to them, they will invite you to have the red tea, very sweet red tea. They put everything to you. I have had the camel's milk. They go to the camel and squeeze the camel's milk to me.
Fresh milk.
Yeah, fresh milk. I have good memory. And also one thing I have to say, there's the free market. No supermarket to buy something. You have to wait. And then they will tell you, the trucks is here. Big trunks, 40 feet trunks. 农产品, 水果, vegetable, very cheap, very fresh. You can imagine. I enjoy that way very much.
Now, I'm going to jump again in your life. You retired from the Air Force, but before you became defense minister in 2016, there is a gap about a decade where you were a temple master, a 大师兄. What was this part of your life about?
Well, after I retired on my position as Deputy Chief of General Staff Air Force, the 3-star general, I was assigned to AIDC, the Air Industry Development Center, called Hanxiang Hangtai 工业公司.
Now, this is, for our listeners who don't know, this is actually Taiwan's only aircraft manufacturer, and it has actually built a generation of jet trainers in Taiwan.
Yeah. And that time I have a mission is to complete their IDF upgrade.
This is the indigenous
fighter.
The indigenous fighter
Defense
jets,
fighter.
Taiwan's own homegrown jet fighters.
It was 6 years now, only have 1 year left. And I completed this. I give them a 10 years planning. As a 2015, what's your AIDC project for the 2015? So we have, with Japan, have Mitsubishi Regional Jet. And we have the first in Taiwan have air composite material. Well, the first flight, called Mandan flight, the weather is so bad. I call a lady we call 师兄. I say, would you please to ask your God to give me a good weather? Because tomorrow we are going the first flight. He said, no problem. You will get the magic. I said, magic? I said, I need a good weather. She says, you will see. And next day, in 5 o'clock, it's raining. The cloud is lower. Today, will not be able to have good weather to test flight. Because test flight, the weather limitation is higher than the normal flight. But 7 o'clock, I can see the rain was stopped.
The magic is happening.
And I forgot the magic. I forgot it because I was so nervous. I look at the weather and the clouded looks like they disappeared. 8 o'clock, I can see the sunshine. Also the blue skies. I say, hey, because they say what we should do, Chairman. I say, go away on your job. Everybody take your duty. So 9 o'clock, we are on time takeoff. 10 o'clock, shui-bian was arriving. We are just landed.
Sunshine, bright sky, magic.
And then shui-bian congrats us.
Taiwan's president at the time.
Yeah, president at that time. He said, it's raining because rain drops on his coat. I say, sir, you bring the good weather for us. Kiss his ass. The first time I do that.
All right. 师兄, you spoke of it. Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Then I talked to the test pilot. I said, what about the weather? It's so nice. He said, sir, it's a magic. 10 miles, big hole on the airport. Take off, landing. I said, really? I flew more than 35 years. I've never met this kind of magic. Well, at night, Sishong called me and says, hey, what about that? He says, magic only give you 2 hours, 8 to 10. 8 o'clock, begin blue sky. 9 o'clock, you take off. 10 o'clock, you landed. Then the sky was changed. I said, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I say, hey, I will go to your temple to worship and thanks to God. I persuade the test pilot donate 30,000 NT. I give him award. I, by myself, 50,000 to that temple. That temple is
So
in
how
the
long
family.
were you a 大师兄, a temple master?
I contributed to myself to that house temple. And it's also a magic. They found out it's free to have a villa in the Danshui. Yeah.
In northern Taipei.
Yeah, in northern Taipei. So we are moving there. I almost donated myself a whole time to keep that temple.
So you lived in the temple. You devoted yourself
Right.
to the temple. I mean, did you wear temple clothes?
And
I'm thinking a monastery.
well, that don't need to be a monk. I enjoy to have so many different people come in. Even the kids, I especially love the kids. Now the kids is teenager now. Whenever they saw me, they hug me and says, 大师兄, I love you or something. That's because when they are young, I always play with them, take care of them. Let their parents can be, quietly touch the God. Maybe 5 years, we go to many places like America, Malaysia, Philippines, Japan, Korean, to have 法会. Means the Jigong will go to solve your some problems.
So it's kind of like outreach
Right.
with other counterparts as well as passing on
Right.
the preachings or the lessons of your particular temple.
Right. So very famous in 5 years, even more.
You did this for 5 years?
I enjoy it. Everybody listen to me. I became the commander again. But the difference is they are the civilian. And also some are very, very old. Some are very young.
And you didn't know you would become commander again after this, because it was then later you became defense minister and back to your professional life.
In these 10 years, I was created myself psychologically to love the people. Also, you have to have patience. I believe you heard a lot about me. I have bad temper, and I was called subordinate.
I think your kids said it too.
Severely. And after that, I became a good minister. Because of what? Because I was through this practice, created myself different ideas, different psychology. Yeah, it's very useful to me.
It sounds like temple master should be on the resume of every cabinet minister in the world.
Well, I wasn't know I would be the Minister of Defense.
So you were defense minister from 2016 to 2018, and you've actually been in defense and security since then at a think tank and now at the Veterans Affairs Council. You've said before that Taiwan's military absorbs a lot of the pressure from China so that everyday citizens like me or my family, we don't have to worry about it. What does that mean?
Well, the threat from the mainland China, even you tell the civilians, doesn't help. The better way, in my mind, is well-trained our soldiers, high spiritual, and they obey the order whenever something happened, even some natural disaster. So this is my philosophy. I don't want to, their PLA Air Force is coming from the Taiwan Strait today. Also says, wow, let's review. They are coming yesterday from the eastern part. That's our job. Let's all have to face about that because this is our duty, isn't it? Why you tell the details to the civilians? I hope the civilians, the teacher, the students do their own job. They are working hard, they are studying hard, teaching hard. Normal life, peaceful life, stable life, and make the economic stably growing up. All the threats absorbed by ourselves because we have to. And I will tell you, I feel very unfair. Something happened. You remember during my first year, just about 2 months, the Xiongsan was misfired. No any other country around us support us, says, oh, this is the misfire. Because what? Because if not a fish boat shooting to the mariners, their containers or warships, what will be happened?
That was a really tense moment during that time, if I recall right. It was an inspection training. The missile misfired. It hit a fishing boat. It killed a Taiwanese fisherman. It was flying from southern Taiwan, heading north, angling west, supersonic. I mean, this could have been an international incident, but maybe cool heads on both sides kept it from getting any bigger. But what you're saying, Kent, is that in the moments when nobody knew what was going on and that missile was heading in that direction, nobody spoke up for Taiwan.
You know what? Because that was a inspection test, it's not really want to fire. It tests the procedures, but missed put the fire button. So it has no target setting. So the missile fired, be free to find the target. Because that area is only one fish boat. So they hit it. And then I would say as a minister, we should be count the situation the worst way to have another crisis management. If hit tanks or on the warships of mainland China.
Of course.
It could be probably wartime is coming. It could be worse, the situation. In that moment, we need the third country to say something for us. Says, this is misfire, or this is not intended to attack. It's not a real fire. It's not an engagement moment. But actually, nobody say anything. We are in the first time to inform AIT, says we misfired. But we don't know what will be happen. Because what? Because we will tell them we are friendly. We are not intended to make trouble. Because we do all effort to follow the status quo in Taiwan Strait. I feel very uncomfortable. The country around us enjoy the peaceful time, stable living life. They are all peacefully, the kids growing up. And whenever Taiwan have something, nobody say something to support us. I feel unfair. Because keep status quo is not only for Taiwan. Even the managers, they got benefit, isn't it? How about around the Taiwan Strait, Northeast Asia countries? They all get benefit. Nobody support us. We feel lonely. And I feel, we have to prepare the worst situation if it's happened.
Prepare for the worst.
Yeah. So I will never forget this moment, the feeling. Yeah.
Now, Defense Minister, you were much more outward-facing in your duties and your roles. Now, as Minister of the Veterans Affairs Council, you're a veteran yourself. What's most important to you about this ministry?
We have to read the history about the soldiers in 1949, follow President Chiang Kai-shek from mainland to Taiwan.
These are soldiers that probably were maybe even on that ship with you that very long time ago when you and your mom came over.
Many of them, they are fighting the Japanese, communist, Balujun. That time, they are maybe 16 to 20 something, very young. They're coming to Taiwan, combat duty. They are getting old. We have 10 big construction in 1970s until to 80.
The big highways were constructed back then in Taiwan.
So when they're getting old, we have to donate everything to take care of them because they sacrificed their living life, their golden years for the country, for the Taiwan. Not only against mainland China, also protect Taiwan, just like President last September 23rd in Jinmen to celebrate 70 years.
The Battle of Guningtou.
The Battle of Guningtou said, if no veterans, the soldiers and the generals sacrificed their life, well, no Taiwan today. We are living good. We have democracy. Our economic is blooming. And kids are peacefully growing up. We have to say thank you. But thank you is not enough. We are put in the action to take care of them. This is the reason. After inauguration, the next day, I go with my friend Xiao Dong to the northern three big veteran house.
So we're talking about in August when you were appointed Veterans Affairs Council Minister the very next day.
Right. To see how are they taken care of by our system. Is this system good enough? You know, a 105 years old soldier, they say he was a major during the World War II. I asked him, says, how old are you fight the Japanese? He tell me when he was 16 years old. Even he fight the Balujun in mainland. I wasn't born yet. He saluted to me and said, your name is Feng what's Minister of Defense? I saluted to him. I admired his good health. I even go to the central kitchen to smell. Does it smells good? I check their food, water, and I have lunch or dinner with them to make sure their food is nice, their water is clean. I put my love to them because what? During my service time in the Air Force, donated myself to the country, I forgot to take care of my parents. My parents are all taken care of by my brother and my sister-in-law. 我们讲生养死葬。
生养死葬 birth, life,
Yeah.
death, and burial.
You're right. After 1980, I have never had any time when my parents' birthday because I was on duty all the time. Because my home's close to the airport, something happened. I'm the high priority to take duty. Yeah, on duty.
Well, you seem really well placed to be the person in charge of Taiwan's veterans. Now I want to bring you back. 5 beautiful grandkids. As I understand it, they are doing really well.
Yes. My daughter has 3 sons. Benjamin is many times the world championship of Taekwondo.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Andrew now is National Olympic swimming camp, one of the member of it. His swimming is so good. And third one is Matthew. He is, I would say, the talent of boxer.
A talented one, eh?
A boxer. He also a very good swimmer, also good football player. All of them are really good exerciser because my daughter in the Saudi Arabia, in the British school, it was Olympic coach to teach David and Julie.
Julie, your daughter,
Yeah,
David, your son.
Right. And Julie, more than 30 golden plate as a swimmer.
That's a lot of medals.
More than 30.
They all live in the United States.
Yes, daughter in Virginia and David, they are living in Maryland.
So Kent, I mean, it's been wonderful hearing all these stories. Now I know your kids and your grandkids won't be in Taiwan for Christmas or this holiday season. And I know that you and your wife, Rosa, very much dotes on them. So if they are tuning in right now, what do you want to say to them?
The first sentence is Merry Christmas and be good you have to take care of yourself because daddy and mama is in Taiwan. And we will take care of ourselves very well. And let us be a very happy family.
Minister Kent Feng Shikwan, thank you so much for your life and times. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm J.R. Wu, and this has been the Taiwan Take.
This has been a Ghost Island Media production based in Taipei, Taiwan. This episode was produced and edited by me, Emily Y. Wu. Our researchers are Yuchen Lai and Sam Robbins. Additional production support by Allison Chan. Brand design by Thomas Lee. Catch you next time. Bye.